And we are talking about the most important thing that you need to do before going on a date, whether that is in person or with coronavirus restrictions, if that is online via some type of video chat. And that is setting an intention. Here's what I see happen too often: boy meets girl, boy talks to girl, girl gets excited, she wants to go on a date with him, and then girl goes on date and she is spending her time wondering, I wonder if he likes me. I wonder if he thinks that I'm pretty. I'm wondering if he likes this outfit, if he likes my hair, all of these different things. And while she is busy being consumed with what the man thinks, she is not using her intuition, her discernment, qualities that are very, very distinctly feminine. We as women have to be masters at them when we use them. But she is not using those things to gauge whether or not this relationship is aligned and healthy for her. And when you are doing this, what happens is you lose your power. You lose your power in the relationship because men pick up on energy. So if you are coming into a date, into a conversation with a man from a desperate place, and by desperate place, I mean either you are really trying to, like, the clock is ticking to date and get married and have kids and all that good stuff, or desperate place from even just you really, really want to be liked, you really want to make a great impression. If you're coming from that type of place, men pick up on that. And what happens is really high value men are not going to be attracted to that. They may not understand why they're just not feeling it with you, but they aren't. It is something about that energy that you give off when you come from this place of trying really hard to be liked, trying really hard to please others. So high value men just won't be attracted. And the men who are more toxic, the men who are more likely to abuse, you become a target for those men. So it is so important that you do not go into a date with that type of desperate energy. What you want to do instead is go into a date from a very empowered place. And here is how you go into a date from an empowered place: it is by setting an intention. And when I say setting an intention, I am talking about for that particular date. So this does not mean that when you are setting an intention, your intention is, I'm going to go on a date. This man is going to be it. We're going to be done and we're going to get married. That could be the goal further down the line. But when I'm talking about setting an intention for a date, is I want you to spend some time before you go out with this man, because again, this might be, depending on where you're living and when you are watching this, this might be a matter of going on an in-person date. This might be a matter of you are online dating and video chatting right now. But before you have that date with a man, you need to take some time, sit to yourself. I recommend journaling this out. So actually paper and pen, or I have a couple of clients who are really, they can't live without their text. So I have clients who do this in like the notes app on their phone or on their laptop, like the notepad app or something. But set the intention and think about what some of these intentions can be before a date. So your intention could be, I am committed to putting myself out there and being more available for a relationship. So if that is your intention, what that looks like is having a date with a man and being really attentive, being present, putting aside your phone or putting it on silent during that time. It means really listening to what a man has to say. Because on one hand, I always tell my clients that you believe actions above believing words. However, it is also true that oftentimes a man will tell you what he wants from a relationship, and you may just not be listening. When men say things like, I'm just trying to chill, or I'm not really sure what I want, or I just want to see what this goes. Those are usually some form of I'm not ready for commitment. And women will spend so much time on the first date or the first couple of dates wondering about whether or not the man likes their appearance or their hair or how they talk or what they're talking about, that they miss things like that. Something that was said on the very first date that could have saved them 6 months or a year of heartbreak. So you want to make sure you're listening. You want to make sure that you're present. You want to make sure that you are an active participant in the date, that you are having engaging conversation instead of constantly being worried about someone's impression of you. So that could be your intention. I am committed to being open and available for love, for conversation, for having a good time. Your intention could be, I'm going to have a good time on this date. And I remember when I was single, that was often my intention for a first date. Look, I didn't care what experience the man had. Like, I did. But at the same time, if I went on a date with a man and it wasn't aligned, if it turned out that we weren't a match, my intention for a date was always, I'm going to have fun regardless. So, if that meant that the guy and I had great, engaging conversation and that we had a good time, then that was amazing because I set that intention to have fun, which meant that I went on every single date as myself, as my corny self, as my sarcastic self, and I made the jokes. And if the guy was aligned with that, that was awesome. If he wasn't, I was still going to crack myself up with my own jokes. Uh, I was still going to enjoy the food if we were at a restaurant. And, even now, if you're doing online dating through video chat, order from the same restaurant from Grubhub or something like that. You can still have that shared experience. But for me, it was always that intention of regardless, I was going to have fun. If the guy turned out to be a total dud, I would make jokes with the waiter or the waitress. But that was always my intention. Your intention before a date could be, I am open to being more vulnerable. Because this is something that you may be struggling with. A lot of women get in relationships, they get burned, and then they are afraid to ever be vulnerable again. And I'm not telling you to spill all of your guts the second that you meet a guy. But an example of being vulnerable on a first date could very well be something like, I was nervous before this. Making that type of admission, there's nothing wrong with making an admission like that. And it does show your vulnerable side. Your being vulnerable could be something like sharing an embarrassing moment from your childhood or talking about something that you find funny. And a lot of times people don't see that as being an example of being vulnerable, but telling a story that you think is funny is vulnerability because not everyone has the same sense of humor. Believe me, I learned that lesson a lot when I was dating. So make sure that you have some type of intention before you go into this process of getting to know a man. Because honestly, this is what dating is. Dating is data collection. It is gathering the information that you need to know before you decide whether you want to pursue this as a committed relationship. So when you set these intentions, whether your intention is, I want to get out more, or I want to improve my communication skills, or I want to allow myself to be more vulnerable, or I want to open myself up more to receiving. So when a man compliments me, I don't shy away and go, no, no, you don't mean that, or no, this is an old outfit, or no, actually, like my hair is jacked, or whatever. You're actually open to receiving compliments and saying thank you and waiting for a man to open the door and things like that. Whether your intention is, I want to have fun, whether your intention is, I am doing this to increase my goal of meeting more people, make sure that you set an intention before you have these dates. Your intention could be, I want to work on my discernment, and that might help you with actively listening to what the man is saying on the date and being able to really be present, to really pay attention and then to be able to go home and properly process what was said, as opposed to either A, letting your emotions get you carried away and planning your wedding after the first day, or B, automatically thinking of all the things that you think you did wrong. But when you set an intention beforehand, you are going into the process much more comfortable. You're going into the process from a place of power. And that confidence and that power are sexy. So you come off as more attractive. Setting an intention also means a commitment to dropping the rest. So if you have an intention, love, then you are not going to be like, I wonder what he thinks of my hair right now. I wonder what he thinks of my makeup right now. I wonder what he thinks of my clothes right now. If you start having those thoughts, go straight back to the intention for this date. And doing that, again, allows you to show up authentically. It allows you to better listen. It allows you to better discern, and it allows you to be more confident. So this is, if you will, a homework assignment for you. As you are going through the process of dating and meeting men, and you get to the point where, say, you're online dating and you get to a point where you want to have a video chat, what is your intention before these conversations? What is something that you are committed to keeping top of mind as you go through this dating process?